Welcome to the September 13th, 2019 video version of the Wagner Daily. My name is Rick Petticelli. Once a week, this video replaces the written commentary portion of the report, and hopefully this video offers a nice change of pace from our usual report, as well as gives some insight as to how we set up our charts, the different time frames and indicators. So first up, we're going to run through a few broad market averages, give broad market outlook. Then we'll go through our open positions, and last we'll cover potential setups for Friday or for early next week. Let's get to the charts. After being range bound for several weeks, the Nasdaq Composite gapped above range highs and held on 9.5. The 9.10 session was very important as the Nasdaq opened lower and sold off about 1% before reversing and closing back above the 50-day MA. The shorts had everyone caught off guard on the open, and they still couldn't take the market lower. So that was a pretty bullish sign here. And then there was some follow through the next day on 9/11. So that's pretty solid price action, which creates a pretty strong support level right here, just under the 50-day MA. There's also the rising 10 and 20-day moving averages that will continue to climb higher. So whether the price action pulls back in or continues to move out, these 10 and 20-day moving averages will cross above the 50 and offer support on any pullback. The S&P 500 ETF SPY showing a bit more strength than the Nasdaq as it never touched the 50-day MA on 9/10, but a nice reversal nonetheless and follow through. And now there was a test of the prior highs on 9/12. And the price action looks pretty good. The 20-day is about to cross above the 50. So again, just like with the Nasdaq, any pullback should find support at or near the 20-day EMA if it doesn't hold the 10 MA. And just because the S&P sold off after testing the prior high doesn't mean this index will roll over the next few days. It could gap higher and continue to rally. So what we know right now is that there was a strong gap up, change of character here. Both indices were range bound, and it looks like they're moving higher, and there's quite a bit of strength behind this move so far. And some thoughts on the overall market. I think the recent gap up caught a lot of investors off guard, especially since the backdrop is quite negative in terms of seasonality. We're in September, which isn't great. We have Chinese trade war concerns. We have the Fed report coming up next week. There's also inverted yield curve talk suggesting an economic recession. So there's quite a bit of negative news out there. And what the market's done since then is just basically sold off sharply for a few weeks, then gone sideways. And now it's retaken the 50-day MA, and it's testing range highs and could easily break out to new highs. Now, what's been kind of confusing over the past week or so is the fact that market-leading stocks such as the computer software, some medical, lots of these stocks took a beating last week as money rotated out of those extended names and into lower risk stocks, many that have lower PE multiples, more value plays. So there was definitely money flowing out of growth and into value, and some could view that as a negative as well. But I believe if growth stocks just chop around for a while and their charts don't melt lower and they hold up from here on out, it could be where the growth stocks just need a little bit of time to set up quality basing patterns. And in the meantime, we're going to see low PE stocks run a bit higher here and outperform. So that's the thought process for the next few weeks. We'll see how it plays out. We want to avoid having too strong of an opinion when trading, as that usually just gets us into trouble. On to open positions. Per email alert, we bought UEIC over 47. A decent session. What we'd like to see over the next few days is the price hold above the 912 low and then take out the 912 high within the next few days. Sideways, and then a retake of that high. ROST, we We liked over the 2-day high. There was a bit of a gap on the open. We bought the gap up on the open. Same thing. As long as it holds up above this 108.50 area, it should be good. There was an immediate test and stall at the prior high, which isn't necessarily bad as long as the price action continues to set higher lows. So it might just chop around here for a few days and then eventually move higher. As for new setups, we have nothing officially in play for Friday, but we do have a pretty good watch list in place right now. And there could be some decent pullback setups that emerge next week in stocks that have moved out this week. So we'll definitely have to keep a close watch on those. But let's run through a list of stocks right here pretty quickly that could have some potential over the next few weeks. SAH, Sonic Automotive, big volume gap up to new highs. See the weekly base here and the gap up. And then there's 2 tight days of price action here. If the price can break above the 2-bar high, then it could be off to the races. And it could be where SA just moves out immediately and doesn't wait for the 10 MA or a test of the 10 MA before moving higher. That's something that can happen on gap ups. BURL, Burlington, another strong gap up. This stock, though, so far has failed to hold up near the highs of the gap up day, and it's working on pulling back. It lost the 10-day MA here, so it may be that it needs to undercut the low of the gap up day. If so, if that occurs near the test of the 20-day EMA and produces a reversal bar, that might offer a buy entry down the road. Keys is looking pretty tight. It could potentially be in play on a break of this downtrend line, which may coincide with a move through 100. LPG is a nice pullback setup here. A little break of the downtrend line. So about with a nice reversal on 912. So move through the high of 912. And if it can get above 1060, could see a test of the 1120 and or higher. And TTC, here's a few false breakouts. Price action got a little wide here, and it's tightened up again after stalling at the prior high here. Nice reversal action on 910. If the price can get above the 2-bar high, say around 74.50, could be ready to run higher. And one thing to add on the weekly chart of TTC, if you notice here, the chart could, break above the 2-bar high tomorrow and then rip higher. But if it doesn't, note that it will form an inside week on the weekly chart here. Now, if TTC triggers, say here's the reversal on 910 and it triggers the following day on 911, there's no weekly bar that it's going to break above until it clears the prior week's high, because this week has yet to print yet. So this is the prior week's high that I'll have to take out. However, if it does wait on Friday and breaks out on Monday or Tuesday, a move above the 2-day high will also put it above a weekly high. So just another technical level that it cleared to add a little bit more oomph to the setup. Well, thank you for joining us and have a great weekend. We'll see you back here next week.